Welcome back to Battle Scrolls, where history's strangest facts come alive. Today, we're re-breaking the rules with a look at crazy medieval laws that will make you question everything. You thought you knew about the Middle Ages, from animal trials to beer taxes. These medieval mishaps are guaranteed to leave you scratching your head. So let's start with something close to home, or rather on your home. In medieval Europe, the walls you painted your house with could land you in serious trouble. Bright colors like yellow and blue were reserved for the rich and powerful. Peasants caught painting their homes in these shades could face hefty fines or even imprisonment. It was literally illegal to be a little too ambitious with your decorating. Speaking of color, what you wore wasn't just a fashion statement, it was a legal declaration. Sumptuary laws dictated that the lower classes couldn't wear certain colors or even fabrics. Peasants caught wearing clothes fit for a noble could face public humiliation or even be sent to prison. But hey, at least they weren't put on trial. Yes, in medieval times, animals weren't just kept for their work or their wool. They were also held accountable for their actions. That's right. Animals were put on trial for crimes, often accused of witchcraft or causing damage. And they weren't just thrown in jail. They had lawyers, witnesses, and even punishments like exile or execution. Pigs, dogs, and even insects faced the wrath of the law, proving that in the Middle Ages, no living thing was safe. But perhaps the most bizarre aspect of medieval justice was the trial by ordeal. This wasn't your typical courtroom drama. If accused of a crime, you could be subjected to grueling tests to prove your innocence, like holding a red-hot musket or walking barefoot across burning embers. And if you survived without a scratch, you were declared innocent. If not, well, your guilt was established, and let's just say that the sentence wasn't pretty. Of course, medieval laws weren't all doom and gloom. They also tackled everyday issues that we can all relate to, like false advertising. Enter the bread and ale laws. These laws made it illegal for bakers to sell underweight bread or brewers to water down their beer. And the punishment for such crimes was, well, a little embarrassing. Offenders were tied to a post and publicly shamed, ensuring that their reputation was as ruined as their business. But what about having a little fun? Well, that could get you into trouble, too. In medieval England, the king actually banned the game of football because it was deemed too distracting. Can you imagine being arrested for playing a sport? The king clearly had his priorities straight, or maybe he just wanted to take out his frustration on someone else. And when it came to leisure time, the medieval church had its own set of rules. Dancing, card playing, and even dice games were seen as sinful and discouraged among the population. But somehow public kissing was considered even worse. Yep, that's right. You could get fined for a little PDA in the Middle Ages. So if you were planning on sneaking in a quick kiss during the 14th century, think again. But no discussion of medieval laws would be complete without mentioning the weird rules regarding beards. Rulers like King Henry VIII of England passed beard laws that forced men to pay taxes for growing one. Other rulers, like Louis XIV of France, went a step further, banning certain styles like those with long, drooping whiskers. Apparently, the royal decree dictated that sideburns should be no longer than 3 fingers wide, and a small price to pay for looking fabulous. Now, these medieval mishaps may seem amusing, but they offer a fascinating glimpse into a world obsessed with order, tradition, and appearances. From what you wore to what you drank, everything was regulated. And if you didn't follow the rules, you could face anything from public shaming to, well, trial by pig. So the next time you find yourself in a courtroom drama, just remember things could always be worse. You could be in medieval Europe. Thanks for joining us on this episode of Battle Scrolls. If you enjoyed this wild ride through history, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell, because we've only just begun to uncover the weirdest, wildest facts from history's most unbelievable periods.